So for a little over a week, I've been exploring Japan with my Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra to see if this is the ultimate smartphone, especially for people that travel a lot. Now, I've actually been using the S25 Ultra since the launch earlier this year, and this phone is amazing. But here's the thing, in day-to-day life, there's a lot of features that you actually barely use. So I figured what better way to really test it than while traveling. And honestly, this trip has made me use my S25 Ultra more than I ever have in the past. Now let's start with my one and only frustration, which was with transport. You see, you can't add a digital Suica card to the Samsung wallet, which in Japan kinda sucks. You also can't even download the Suica app from the Play Store. So if you're using a Samsung device, or for that matter, any Android device, you'll need to buy a physical Suica card and top it up with cash, which is kind of inconvenient. Now, Samsung does support a ton of other transportation cards. Just look at all of these different options, and they even have a ton for Japan as well, but Suica just isn't one of them. So please, Samsung, make Suica happen, and thank you in advance. Now, one way the S25 Ultra really came in clutch was with interpreter and general translation. When I was doing my research before the trip, a lot of people said the same thing, and that is that Japan isn't really English friendly, and that is actually an understatement. You see, everywhere you go, people speak Japanese. Even if you go to hotels which cater to foreigners, English is barely a second language, which can make communication extremely difficult. For example, the other night we had dinner somewhere and the bill was missing half of the items, and trying to explain that in English was nearly impossible. You see, they understood that something was wrong, but not what exactly needed to be fixed. I managed to pull out my phone, translate everything, and the issue was sorted almost instantly, which just made it so much easier. You see, it's funny, translation is a feature that I barely use in my day-to-day life, but here it is something that I've used multiple times a day. And the fact that you can download all these language packs to use it offline is actually a game changer, because we actually started our trip in a camping area which didn't have Wi-Fi, so being able to communicate with people would have been near impossible, but at least having interpreter downloaded means that we could communicate with people day to day without any worries. And then of course there's the more casual things like signs, menus, websites, which are also in Japanese. Now, trying to book restaurants or figuring out what is on the menu, especially in smaller towns, can be fairly tricky, so having the ability to translate anything at the tip of your fingers really comes in handy. I also use the translation features in Gemini daily, pointing the camera at signs, translating web pages, or even double checking menus. It actually saved me from ordering meat that I didn't want to eat, let's just say it that way. And for me, the language gap has been the biggest obstacle to overcome, and my S25 Ultra really eliminated that for me and made this trip so much more enjoyable, because you can actually communicate with people really easily. But I used it for more than just that. Capturing memories was another huge part of this trip, and having a phone that takes stunning photos and videos makes such a massive difference. Sure, I brought my professional camera, but honestly, the S25 Ultra was just way easier. It's always with me, quick and easy to use. I can just pull it out of my pocket. It doesn't draw as much attention. And honestly, everybody else is filming on their phone anyway, which just makes you sort of blend in with the crowd. Now, I shot a ton of photos and videos both day and night, and the S25 Ultra handled everything beautifully. I could even edit on the go, right on my phone using Lightroom or just the built-in tools. Export, post, done. No laptop needed. It's just so convenient to travel with and to create content with as well. But now let's talk about navigation. I relied heavily on Google Maps, which of course is a standard app on the phone, and despite what people say, it works perfectly in Japan. And yes, even the locals use it. Every taxi and Uber driver we met was using Google Maps, so it has to work. We used it to find new places, save them to a Japan trip folder, plan our walks, and even download offline maps so we can navigate without data. It's been one of the most useful tools on this trip, hands down, as it really just makes it easy to explore whichever city you are in. Then when it comes to payments, the only thing that I used on this entire trip was Samsung Wallet and cash. Now, knowing I can just once again rip out my phone and make payments is a breeze, and not having to worry about carrying a wallet with a ton of cards has really lightened the load, because there has been multiple days where we've walked 30,000 plus steps, and on those days, everything you carry with you becomes a question of, do I really need to carry this with me? And yes, I know a wallet isn't the biggest thing, but it does still make a slight difference, and the space it saves is a small space I can use to carry something else that I really need or that I just bought from a store somewhere in the city. And then finally, battery life, which honestly impressed me the most. I was able to get through an entire day on a single charge, and sure, I topped up once or twice just to be safe, but for the most part, the S25 Ultra easily lasted from morning to night, even with heavy use. Now I'm talking Google Maps open almost all day, constant payments, camera use, translation, browsing, everything. Now I did use a few power saving tricks like locking my phone while walking, since Google Map does vibrate when you need to turn, so you can just check it and put it away again after, which saves a lot of battery. It lets you actually enjoy your surroundings as well, as you don't have to look at the phone screen the entire time. You can actually walk around and see your surroundings. Now, yes, I did have to keep maps open every now and then, especially when there are lots of streets or turns, just to make sure that you stay on the right path. But for the most part, I just had a quick peek and then locked it and put it in my pocket. Now, overall, Japan was incredible, and the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra honestly simplified my entire experience. I have traveled a lot with this phone already, to multiple different countries, but never to a place where I needed it as much as I did there. It's one thing to talk about all of the features that the phone has, it's another to actually rely on them every single day, and on this trip, it truly delivered. But then, until the next adventure, cheers.